Hello, 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 and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. So as I said last week, that I'm going to say again this week I'm going to be talking about the narcissistic life cycle. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about gaslighting and cognitive dissonance, with gaslighting being a tool of the narcissist and cognitive dissonance being something that we experience. And I'll go over it briefly as we move on. And so I promised that I would talk about the life cycle of the narcissist, because it is like they have a patent on behavior. So, and the movie Gaslighting. So for people that aren't aware, there was a movie that was called Gaslighting, and it was about this guy who was a narcissist and took advantage of this woman, thus the name Gaslighting. And I'm watching this movie for the very first time, and something would happen, like he was already tormenting her and she wanted to go out and do things. And so he takes her to this music event, and all of the rich, uppity up people are there. And they sit down and she's already kind of nervous. And he makes some kind of comment to set her off so that she has a meltdown in this thing. But as they're walking into this venue, I just looked at the person, a narcissist who I was with, and I said, man, he's going to say or do something that's just going to set her off and she's going to have a meltdown. And he looked at me like, you've seen this movie before. But there were several other instances in this movie that it's like they have a playbook. It's like they text each other, okay, I just went through this phase, what do I do next? When I was researching my book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist, I discovered that many of the behaviors that they exhibit actually have words. It's very validating, because you think, oh, well, this is just how they're being with me. But apparently this is how they are, because there are words tied to it. So the life cycle of a narcissist presents in 3 stages. First is the infatuation stage. Then there is the, part 2 where things start to change. And then there's the devaluation stage. And so I'm going to go through each of the 3 stages and kind of express them, what they are. So the first stage with a narcissist, one of the behaviors that they exhibit is called love bombing. They are just so into you, and they'll text you all the time, and you have these amazing conversations, and you like the same things, and they want to do all of these things that you're interested in, and they put in all of this energy and all of this charisma. I'll say charisma into you. And so if you're not aware of the concept of love bombing, you might think, wow, this guy is really into me. Like they'll drive an hour and a half just to come have lunch with me. And they want to talk until the middle of the night. And you think, man, maybe this is the one, because it's like you've met your soulmate, and they're wonderful. And so as part of the love bombing, they also employ what's called future faking. And as part of the love bombing process, where they will drop things like, oh, well, when we get married or when we do this thing, and it's always something that is going to happen in the future, that they're making a promise to you, so it bolsters everything, and it makes it feel like you have a future. This person is talking about a future together with me, And it just adds to what's going on inside of us and our belief in, wow, this might be real. Um, but then they do something else, and they do things to, and I'm going to say it this way, to get you stuck. So if you're a woman, you might get pregnant, or they might get you to move in with them, or they might get you to, I was with one, he moved in with me, and then we bought a boat together, which kind of financially tied me to him in the relationship. But they do these things to get you stuck, where it's much more challenging to take steps back and exit the relationship. And then once they perceive that you're stuck, everything changes. And so my late husband, Wayne, and I've talked about him before. This is so embarrassing. I was wife number 6, okay? And we got married. And about a month into, we had already been living together. And about a month into the marriage, because now he's stuck, because we're married, he looked at me and said, well, I'm waiting. And I'm like, well, waiting for what? And he goes, for you to change. And I'm like, change into what? And I'm like, looking at my clothes, smelling my armpits. It's like, change into what? He goes, I'm just waiting for you to change. They all did. And I said, all 5 other of your relationships were like all super nice to you till you got married and then they just changed? And he said, yeah, pretty much. And that's what they do. Now, it might not happen immediately, but it will happen. And it might be because a narcissist needs to feed. This is one of the things. They need to feed. They need their source of narcissistic supply. So once you're in a relationship and you get married, maybe you're giving them a little bit less attention, which changes everything. Maybe you do have the baby and now there's a baby involved in the whole thing, whether you had the baby or your partner had the baby, and they're getting less attention because more energy is being focused on the infant. Or you might say or do something that minimizes their sense of grandiosity, and it starts changing. It will change, and they will shift from who you think they were and this wonderful, sweet, loving person to where their true self starts to appear. So if there's any diminishment of who they are, they'll get defensive, or they'll get angry. They might start to withdraw their kindness to you. They might apply manipulation tactics to get you to do the things that they want, all to make themselves seem more important. And this includes gaslighting, which is where basically they just lie. They lie to your face. Do you know where this is? No, haven't seen it. And then you find it in their dresser drawer. They'll just lie. You just have to know they just will lie to your face and make you feel like the crazy one, and you're the one that has the issue. That's part of the gaslighting. And what I was saying before, so the narcissist gaslights, and then we experience cognitive dissonance because we're going, I don't really know what you're talking about. This is what you said. No, I didn't say that. And it's like, I'm telling you, that's what you said. And now you start to question your memory. Well, maybe they didn't say that. They seem so determined that they didn't say it. And so you start questioning, and then maybe you turn around and forgive them and say, okay, well, I guess I was mistaken. But the reality probably is they did say it, but they're just lying to you. And in addition to withdrawing their kindness, they might also employ the silent treatment where they don't return phone calls, don't respond to texts, and basically give you the cold shoulder. They need their space, and they have these things that they need to work on that do not include you. But they do that as a way to punish you because you're not feeding their need, you're not feeding their supply. So that was phase two. And then you move into part three, the devaluation stage. And the devaluation stage is where basically you're preparing for discard. Um, and during that stage, it's like we tend to typically walk around on eggshells. But also during this stage, they're starting to look for a new source. So you were the supply, you had the great energy that they were attracted to. You were the flame and they were the fly that came to you. But now the flame has started to diminish because they were a jerk to you. And so now they need to go find a new flame to get their source. And it's interesting because well, actually, one husband and one boyfriend said, well, I need to go find myself. Now, when the husband did it, I thought there was maybe some truth to it. When the boyfriend said it, I'm like, oh, we have moved officially into the discard stage. And he went to go find himself out of town. And while he was gone, I started packing his shit up because I already knew I was into the discard stage. And what do I want to hang around that for? But also tied to that, so they might be like texting other people, signing up on dating sites, doing things to begin getting that source. But also tied to it is they might employ a smear campaign, which they try to destroy your reputation. So many times people that are narcissistic, people look at them and they go, oh, they're such a nice guy. But they don't ever see that person behind closed doors to find out what a douchewad they are. And so they will go and find people to sit there and talk about you bad, to make you look bad. Now, granted, when a relationship ends, we tend to share our thoughts and feelings with other people as a way of kind of self-healing and whatever, but they will do it intentional. And they do it to make you look bad around others and to gain sympathy on their side, so that when the relationship ends, they take the friends and you're left alone. Another one that they'll employ is something called flying monkeys. Now, flying monkeys, so if you think of the Wizard of Oz and the Wicked Witch of the West had the monkeys and the red cap. And so she could go and get them to do her bidding. And so many times during this devaluation stage, people that still liked and trusted because he was love bombing them or giving them attention and making them feel good, he gets them to kind of like go and dig around and kind of track you and keep an eye on what's going on. So it's similar to smear campaigns, but this is like they're doing a smear campaign. The flying monkeys are doing their bidding. Okay, so those are the three stages. But once you enter into the devaluation stage, and this happens a lot. So let's say you're with someone and now they are online and maybe they've gone on a date or two, but they get dumped right away. Well, they will circle back to you and do what's called hoovering, and it's kind of like love bombing all over again. They're so sorry. They love you. Let's try to work it out again. I miss you so much. And then if you say, well, I'm not really interested, they will turn, literally, their face will turn around and that ugly person that you were talking to or had this relationship with periodically will emerge, sometimes between sentences. I mean, it's amazing. But they hoover to see if they can suck you back in. and recreate this relationship, even if it's just for a little while, because they want their source and they want to have their feed. So that is the life cycle of the narcissist in relationship. Once you understand what the stages are, it becomes easier to recognize or at least question. Okay, there's like 26 comments. I know I'm streaming. My mute is off, not on. Okay, so I don't want no issues. And hopefully, if you meet someone that starts behaving this way, your antenna will be up and you will move forward cautiously. That's my comment. That is the soul healer moment for today. So I'm going to make a couple of quick announcements and then I will come through and say hi to everyone. So you guys come to the live and you get your free readings, but I'm sure there are other things going on in your life that you would like to get some information and insights about, whether it's a personal issue, a relationship concern, a health concern. Please visit my website at soulhealer.com and reach out to me and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They really are worth it. They go in so much more depth than we cover during any of the readings here. So do it. Soulhealer.com. Schedule a session. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter and check out all of the stuff that's on there. Let's see. One day I'm going to fix this. And so one of the best ways, so if you're listening to this show in a rebroadcast, and you want to join the conversation, please, the easiest place to get to this show is on YouTube by going to Just Energy. I'm going to put this up, but it's funky. By going to Just Energy Radio. So that's 3 words, Just Energy Radio at 7 p.m. Central on Thursday. And click the live button and you can join the chat, get a free on-air reading, hang out with me, hang out with the gang, and we'll all get groovy together. Okay. Let me get rid of that. And I'm going to say hi. Okay. So Veronica's here. Hi, Veronica. And Christine. Hi, Christine. Nina. Hi, Nina. Wow, we got all kinds of people in here. Oofy. Hey, Oofy. Amy. Hi, Amy. Yvonne. Wonderful to see you, Yvonne. Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Cindy Simpson. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Chris. And Sherry. Hey, Don. There you are, Marco. You're way down the list. Let's see. Anybody that I haven't. Hi, Joe. And Debbie. Debbie. All right, turn that off. Let's see, Don. Okay, I said hi to everyone. So, okay, so for people that have been here, or if there's any new people that haven't commented, but they're listening in the background, I'm moving into the reading phase. So I'm going to go through and respond to stuff. But if you would like a reading, all you need to do is say, I would like a reading, and then give me a number between 1 and 3. And that's how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf. So I would like a reading, a number from 1 to 3. Okay. And Raylan says hi. Okay. So Veronica says she saw that movie, and I'm assuming that's Gaslighting. All right, so Oofy said, yep, so sad. Gaslighting used to be a reputable profession back in the day. So true. All right, so Christine says, my question is, I'm friends with the right person named Jay, as he seems nice, but I'm sick of narcissistic men. Or should I be careful? He seems like a nice guy. Okay, so Christine and Jay. Okay, so Christine, you know, I used to let people ask questions, but I'm going to take your question anyway because I'm not really seeing like I'd like a reading. So I'm going to do that. But if you would like just a reading, I'd like a reading. I mean, not you, because I'm going to answer your question and a number. Okay, Christine and Jay. So Christine, he does seem like a nice guy. Um, you know, on a scale, I'm gonna give him a number. So on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as being, you know, narcissistic or have like narcissistic personality disorder, which would be a 10, I'm gonna give him a 3. I mean, we all have um, some narcissistic characteristics as part of who we are. Um, I get the impression that he doesn't listen real well. I feel like if you can kind of get him to ground and focus, that he will listen and hear it. But I get the impression that that's a little challenging for him. You know, it makes me wonder. Makes me wonder if he has a little ADHD or something like that that makes it harder for him to focus. But I feel like once you can kind of connect to him, he can hear you. And I feel like that would be the challenge. Let me drop this down just a little bit. That's better. Okay. And Don said, could I get another reading? Don, you can always get a reading. And I am going to do a 2 for you. And I cleared the cards before I came on air. So I'm just going to do a 2. And let's just see. All right, Don, we're not starting off very good. So you got one of those mask cards. So when these cards come up, it usually means that there's something you don't want to look at or there's something blocked in your energy. And I will dig down until I find a card that's clearing. I mean, that one's not too bad. Am I going to go with that? Actually, I'm going to go with that because it's got some layers. So I'm going to go with that card. You know, so Dawn, what you're showing me is that I'm feeling like you're kind of tired. I'm feeling like life isn't really going in the way that you would like for it to go. I feel like you feel like you're being attacked all the time. I'm getting, you know, I mean, sometimes I just have to be like straightforward and upfront. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of negative energy, like your negative energy kind of sitting around. I'm feeling like there's not a lot of gratitude happening in your life, and your focus tends to be more on the yuck and less on the good. And I don't even like saying that out loud. I mean, if I was in a private session, I would totally say it out loud because I don't care. But I don't like saying that out loud on air because it's kind of harsh. You know, so perhaps you can start paying attention to your thoughts, you know, and start catching that negative thinking, you know, and if you catch the negative thinking, if you can't think of anything positive, do some of the stuff that we've talked about in here, you know, acknowledge it, maybe breathe a little bit or do some tapping or go for a walk or do something to stop the forward momentum of the negative thinking. But I get the impression, you know, that this bout of negative thinking has been more, or you're in the middle of it and it's annoying you. So let me know what you think. Let me know if that's a hit for you or not. You know, and I'm going to make the commentary just to kind of make this clearer. I mean, we all have negative thinking. We all have negative thinking. But I'm feeling like where you're at right now, today, has just been bad. You know, like the last couple of days have been bad. You know, you're having bad brain. We've talked about bad brain. You're having bad brain, and I'm sorry you're having bad brain. Um, you know, but the way to get out of bad brain is to raise your energy and shift it to something more positive, something of a higher vibration. So, okay, let's see. Amy says, you called it. I received another, oh my God. I received another Hoover message last Thursday night from Texas dude. When I finally saw it the next morning, there was a strange car sitting near my house. Didn't answer it. Okay, that would be like weird and creepy. And good girl. Good girl. Okay, so there are a number of us that are part of the Dumb Girl Club, and it doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means that like your relationship dumb, you know, because I have found that members of the Dumb Girl Club are the most brilliant women that I know, and the coolest women, except they have the worst taste in men, you know. And so Amy did a perfect narcissist maneuver. She was getting hoovered and she did not respond, because responding, answering the text feeds, it gives them energy. And so if you want to disconnect it, don't give them energy. Perfect. And then Debbie says 100% everything you said. Well, that's because it's in my book. You know, and if you have been challenged getting in relationships with narcissists, you know, I would highly recommend my book, The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist. And it really does go hand in hand with my new book, Dang, It Was Me All Along, with that great picture. That has a great picture too. Anyway, they all have great pictures. Okay, so let's see. So Chris says, could not be more correct. Veronica says, what are breadcrumbs? And Veronica, I have heard that term. Hang on one second. Okay, so it says narcissistic breadcrumbing is a manipulative tactic used by individuals with narcissistic personality disorders to keep their romantic partners hooked and interested in them. It involves giving small signs of affection or interest, but never fully committing to the relationship. This behavior can be emotionally abusive and controlling. Okay, so that makes sense. You know, so that's the other way of getting you hooked, is that they give you a little bit. They give you a little bit versus getting you stuck. You know, so it's a different manipulative tactic. So Rachel, I'm not sure if I said hi to you before, but if I hadn't, hi. Dawn says, my second wife did something like that with my kids contacting me. Now never. Okay. Okay, so Veronica says, I would like a reading, have question. All right, Veronica. So, all right, Veronica, and I'm going to wait because there's still time. Do you want to ask a question or do you want a general reading? Because they could be two totally different things. I will wait if you have a question, and have it be not a hard question either. Okay, and I will make sure, Veronica, that you do get your reading, one or the other, before the show's over. Okay, so Christine said she would like a reading number 3. Okay. Number 3. See, now I'm starting to sound like my niece. Okay. Ooh, nice card. All right, Christine, this is your card. Okay, interesting. So, Christine, I feel like you are in, you know, or all right, I'm going to start this way. So we tend to go through cycles in our lives. And I feel like you are in a cycle right now of opening yourself up, opening your receptivity up. And I wanted to tie it to one chakra or another, but I feel like there are minimally three that are active right now tied to this card. The primary one is your second chakra, which is your feeling center. Another one is your fourth chakra, your heart center, as well as your grounding, which is tied to your first chakra. And I feel like, at some point in time, you kind of shut your energy down, shut your reception down, shut your awareness to energy down. And you have been, and I'm not feeling like there's intentionality here, like, I'm doing all of these exercises, but that you are naturally kind of unwinding who you are and taking all of this programming that says, oh, that's bad, or, you're not supposed to know that, or, whatever the negative programming that you took on, and you're letting that go and allowing you to be you, which is a pretty freaking sensitive person. So good job. Keep up the good work. Again, I'm not feeling a lot of intentionality from you, like that this is something you are actively pursuing, but it's happening nonetheless. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So Chris said that she would like a reading as well. Oops. Not what I wanted to do. All right, Chris. And she wants a 1. Okay. And that is your card today, Chris. So, Chris, I get the impression, and this is kind of feels like it's coming a little bit out of left field, that things are just kind of confusing to you right now, or there's something that you're trying to figure out. I'm kind of picking up that there's like this mental effort, and you're trying to like get the knots out of a piece of string. You're trying to get the knots out of a piece of string, but you're blind at the same time, because I'm feeling like you feel it and you recognize it, but there's not a whole lot of visibility on what's going on. And so I'm feeling like, okay, this is interesting, that you might be sensing something, picking it up from the world around you, but are having a hard time kind of putting your finger on it, so that you can understand it, so that you can change it, shift it, accept it, acknowledge it, whatever. My suggestion is to ask it, ask it what it is, ask it what it wants. So instead of just being in it, become curious about it. Try to find out, what it is. Because I'm really feeling like it's more on a on a body level, on a feeling level versus a mental level. But your thoughts are trying to figure out this emotion. So tapping into your emotional space might allow it to come up to the surface and come up on a more mental level for you. But again, you can do that by asking. Okay, great. And let me know what you think. Okay, and so Rachel said, would like a reading number 2. Okay. Number 2. All right, Rachel. Okay, and that is your card right there. Rachel, you need to slow down. I get the impression that there's just always so much going on for you, especially on like mental levels. that it becomes a little bit hard for you to relax. Um, and that's, I mean, I'm just going to leave the commentary there. Maybe slow down, maybe breathe in between things. See, I need to listen to my own advice because I kind of suck at that. Breathe in between things. It all doesn't have to happen yesterday. I feel like you would feel more comfortable, you would feel more relaxed, you would feel more grounded when you do that. So let me know if that makes sense for you. Okay, let's see. Amy says, I would love a reading, especially today. 2, please. Okay, so let's see, Amy, I think there's like this weird car parked outside your house. Sometimes I crack myself up. All right, one more for Amy. Okay, and that's your card for today. Amy, I'm so proud of you. I get the impression, okay, so I'm not sure how to express this, but I get the impression that you recognize that you did the right thing by holding up your boundaries. You weren't scared, and you could look at it and go, wow, I did the right thing. And all of the changes that I've been making and these steps over this uncharted ground are actually kind of working ish, I think. And they are, Amy. And I think you need to pat yourself on the back. And I am validating your validation of what happened. I am totally validating you and, not being so dumb in the dumb girl club anymore. I have to tell you, we started out as the dumb girl club, and the dumb girls are not so dumb anymore. It's amazing. So maybe we need to be like the not so dumb girl club. I don't know. I still like the dumb girl club. But the original members are all becoming adults. I don't know what to do. All right, Yvonne says, would like a reading. Number 3, please. All right, and this is for Yvonne. All right, and this is your card. Okay, Yvonne, so this is the first thing that Braylon, I know you're so mean, so mean. This is the first thing that jumped in my head, and I'm going to hope that it's not true, but it's the first thing that jumped in. So is there someone that you know? I mean, I know that you've been involved in the recovery programs that has, I'm going to say, fallen off the wagon, and that you're kind of concerned about. Whether concerned because they've fallen off the wagon or concerned because you're interacting with them and you're really not liking that vibe. And if what this is that someone fell off the wagon, I am going to give you permission. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to do what I'm saying, but I'm going to give you permission to take a step back if that's what feels is right. Okay. It's like you don't have to step forward. You don't have to feel guilty. You have permission to do what feels right to you. And I gave it to you. Where's my magic wand? And so if that's the case, honor yourself. The goal is to honor yourself. They made their choices. You can make your choices for yourself. Hope that makes sense. Let me know. All of you, if I've given you a reading, let me know what you think, if it makes sense, if it's, resonating with what's going on with you. Okay, so Veronica is back and wants to know if antibiotics are working on my infection post-surgery. Okay, so yeah, you're not going to get a number because it's either ask a question or get a general reading. I'm not liking these antibiotics. I'm not feeling like I'm getting like that. You're getting like a 20 to 30% benefit from them, which isn't all that great. I mean, I feel like it's kind of keeping the infection in check, but not really getting rid of it. There are tons of different antibiotics out there. I don't know that you necessarily need a stronger one because your body's pretty sensitive, but I'm feeling like it's not, that this is not the right formulation for you. How's that? All right, so Pat says she would like a reading in number 3. Okay, Pat. We're going to do a 3 for you. Okay, so this is the card that came up. Pat. Pat, when I kind of check out your energy, I just am feeling like some sadness around you. I don't know that I really have anything else. And I feel like the sadness isn't, I mean, obviously it's your sadness, but you're experiencing it because of what's going on around you. I'm feeling like, your response isn't to something that is active in your life, but is going on like in other people or in another situation that you are being inadvertently affected by because you're just a nice person and kind of sensitive. But I'm feeling like it's not your energy. It's not your problem. And I know that sounds kind of mean and harsh, but it really is the truth. And I think if you acknowledge that you're being more the recipient of the energy versus that energy being yours, you will feel a lot better. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Okay. Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Would like a reading number 1. Okay. So let me kind of clear these cards here a second. Okay, just a 1. Okay, and Cindy, that's your card. So Cindy, you keep making this commentary about, I want to get out of here. I want to go on a vacation. I mean, I just get the impression that I don't want to say that life sucks, but there's a big part of you that would like to take a step back and take a break from all that's going on. And I feel like you can. Um, going on a vacation, or just getting out of Dodge doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money. I mean, you could go to a nearby park and spend the day there, or, go do stuff and have some fun. I feel like life has just been, and I'm going to say this word, kind of overwhelming, and not fun. And I feel like, what your body is asking for is just some reprieve. So if it's possible, and reprieve, aka out of your house, out of your city. It doesn't have to be 500 miles away, but just out, where it's something different, and not going to the mall, but something. I mean, you keep showing me these like pictures of outdoors, like something where like you're not around a gajillion people and you just have some space and some room for you to be in your body and breathe, and just regroup and find yourself. So I'm hoping with the weekend here, that might be something you'd be able to do. Okay, let me know if that makes sense to you, or if it's resonating with what's going on in your life. So Pamela came in. Hi, Pamela. And Denise says, I would like a reading today. 3, please. Okay, so I'm looking at these numbers. Okay, so I think I need to make a rule that, like, once you come in and get a reading, you have to stay. Okay. All right, Denise says 3, please. Okay. Let me go with that. That's the card that came up, Denise. Denise, I'm just sensing a lot of worry around you. But with the worry, I'm feeling like you haven't really taken any action in order to shift, change, or minimize what's going on. And instead, you're just kind of like sitting in it and having it spin around over and over and over again and not getting any kind of resolution. So if a thought is coming up that says, well, maybe I should do this, and you're getting that same thought fairly consistently, then maybe you should do that, and get out of that confusion. Because sometimes when you start taking action to go do X, you get sidetracked into doing what you're really supposed to be doing. But I feel like getting out of the stuck position or the off position and into some kind of an on position will make the energy start to shift for you and reduce or eliminate the worry. So wonderful. Okay. And Dawn says, okay, thank you. And yes, I'm just anything too negative because of what's going on around me now. Okay. Okay, so Pamela asked, wondering if my finances will get better soon. So Pamela, I don't predict the future. And so I'm not really going to respond to that question, but if you'd like a general reading, or if you can rephrase it into not predict the future, I'd be happy to respond to it. Okay, and Debbie said, I'd like a reading, please, just in general. What do I need to know? Number 2. Okay, so Debbie, whenever I do the cards, it's always a general, what do you need to know? Unless you ask a question, because if you don't ask a question, then you get whatever the card says to you. Okay, need to know number 2. Let me just clear these bad boys for you. Okay, and number 2. 1, 2. Okay. Ooh, Deb, You got a mask card. So again, these usually indicate that there's something stuck or that you're not interested in looking at. Okay. And so this was the card. Thankfully, it was only one card down. This is the card that was sitting underneath. Um, all right. So they're being a little blunt with you there, Deb. So what I just got, and I'm just going to like repeat what I received was you keep asking the question why. You know, like why do I keep getting triggered and why is this happening and why? And they keep giving you the answer, but you're not really listening to it. Or accepting it. And so I guess what they're wanting me to share with you is that, it might be a good endeavor to, if there's something that you're wanting to know and you ask the question, to maybe write down the weird thought that comes into your head so you have a record of it and then just put it to the side, and down the road you can come back to it to see if really that was the direction you needed to go. Weird, kind of interesting. Maybe it's just more about confidence in listening to that voice. Um, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Um, Okay, so I'm going to frame this in a different way. So that information comes through, and it's kind of like got to go through all of these filters till it gets to a place where you can feel it. I feel like you need to feel it. But by that time, it usually is a little bit distorted. Um, but I get the impression that you can be pretty, and I'm going to say auditory person, visual person, but you're not really paying attention to that. You're paying attention to the feeling, but I feel like it's coming in the information. Oh, this is the juice. The information is coming in a lot clearer and a lot less distorted when you start paying attention to it on higher levels, on visual levels or on auditory levels. But I get the impression that you're not really paying attention to that. So maybe that's your homework, is to start paying attention to that. I know for me, like listening to stuff and hearing stuff was not my best. And now they just say weird stuff to me, and it's kind of like, okay, so they're telling me this, and I just say it, and usually it's pretty spot on. So let me know what you think. Okay, and then Dawn says, oh, after the first, I can maybe send you a donation as you have asked for. Okay. Pam says, I think I was supposed to pick a number high too, please. Thanks. All right, who's Pam? Okay, so Pam, I'm just going to do a reading. It might not be about your finances. It's just going to be about whatever you need to hear. How's that? And she wants it too. Okay, and that's the card that came up. Okay, so this is kind of interesting because the word obsession came up for me. Whether you're obsessed with a potential relationship, whether you're obsessed with work, but I just feel like your mind and your focus is constantly in it. And there's not a whole lot of chill going on for you, and it could be that, you're thinking about and worrying about your finances, but it's interesting because I'm not getting worry as an emotion, but more obsession, where it's just like you just keep going back to the same thing over and over and over again. And sometimes when we have, and I'm going to say an obsession, we think that it's good and healthy, but sometimes it's not good or healthy, because instead of our attention being in the moment and in the now, it's always out in the future, focused on this obsession. And if you go with what law of attraction says, if you are not in the moment, then the universe doesn't flow through you. How's that? And so there's having negative thinking, but I have come to learn that obsessive thinking, even if it's not negative obsessive thinking, will also sit there and mess up your energy. So maybe start paying attention to where your thoughts are and bringing them back into the present moment. All right. So Chris says, you're funny and right on the money. Woo-hoo. Thank you, Chris. And Amy says, thank you so much. You are so welcome, Amy. And Marco says, your hair is bad. Okay, so Marco, I have to tell you this. What time is it? I got a minute. Okay, so I think some of you know that I bought a project house, and it's this really old house. And Debbie, our good Debbie, I invited her and her ghost team to do an investigation in it. But ghosts kind of spooked me out, and I haven't really noticed any ghosts in this house. And so I told her, I go, well, you can do the investigation, but I don't want to know anything about it unless, the ghosts say, like Rita's great and she has good hair. And after that, I kind of don't really care. Anyway, just thought I would share that with you, Marco. Okay. Yvonne says, I'm wondering about a friend. Don't know for sure, but thanks. I will take a step back if that's true. And Yvonne, it might not have, that might not be what's going on with them. But the taking a step back, I think, is the message you're supposed to be receiving. Because it definitely had to do with a person and stuff going on with them. So, okay, let's see. Thank you. Pat says, thank you, and so true. Excellent. Debbie says, Rita, for Veronica, is it possibly an absorption issue? A food or other drug effect of the antibiotic. So Veronica, Debbie wanted to share this with you. Is it possibly an absorption issue of food or other drug affecting absorption of the antibiotics? That's kind of like a loaded thing to sit here and do in this live. And I'm getting a yes on the absorption. Not 100%, but there is definitely part of that. Okay, so it is 8 o'clock. It is time for me to go. All right, I'm going to say Cindy. She said, yes, that's spot on. Husband is getting ready for a vacation. Well, I'm hoping you're going on vacation. I hope you're happy he's going on vacation, then you get a vacation. Anyway, it's time for me to go. It is, if you would like to come back next week and get a reading, come early, because as you can see, it books up pretty quick. But in the meantime, if you need to get some insights into your life, whether it's a personal problem, a relationship issue, a problem at work, you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you need to find out, or you're not quite sure, if you have a health-related issue, please do reach out to me by going to my webpage, soulhealer.com. You can get copies of my books there. Dang, it was me all along. The Dysfunctional Dance of the Empath and Narcissist. I need to bring all of my books down here. and Avoiding the Cosmic 2x4. There's a couple of other books on there, as well as videos that you can stream on Amazon. While you're there, sign up for my newsletter. And again, until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.